Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday evening, May 23rd edition of studentloanjustice.org. Let me just change that real quick. Hope everybody's doing well out in the world. I'm trying to keep it rather short tonight. Some really good things happening for us right now, guys. We are featured yesterday in the Sunday edition of the Guardian out of London, I believe, in a very strong piece by Michael Sonato. I'm very thrilled that 4 of our members are profiled in the story, including that wonderful woman I told you about the other night, Martha, who is suffering from ALS syndrome, disease. ALS, she's wheelchair bound. She can barely speak. She can't walk, obviously. But yet she finds the time, Martha Monroe, she finds the time to help us fight this battle. And so she was profiled, really good. Other of our members, and the numbers that some of these people have are just astonishing. One of the borrowers, I can't remember which one. I think it was Cara Tina Hamilton. She originally borrowed $26,000. She's repaid like $83,000. She still owes way over $100,000, like $123,000 on a $26,000 loan. So anyways, it's just nonsense out there in the real world with student loan debt these days. Very sad. So tonight, let me just start by giving you some action items so that you don't forget them. First of all, we're asking everybody to follow us on Twitter, Student Loan Just #1. We're fairly new to the Twitter game. I wish we would have joined it a little earlier. I kind of hate Twitter, but Twitter kind of works, like better than Facebook. So if you could please follow us on Twitter, Student Loan Just #1. Secondly, I urge everybody, if you forget everything I say tonight, I urge everybody to go to our Medium platform and read maybe 6 or 7 or 8 of our most recent articles. They're very important. There's some jaw-dropping, unbroken news in there, like many items of unbroken news. We've been doing research ever since we started this group 17 years ago, guys. We've broken some of the biggest stories in higher education policy, or whatever you want to call it. We've been featured on 60 Minutes and the Wall Street Journal, and many other places we've broken news at. So you can be supremely confident that the claims made there in the articles at our Medium platform are very true. Why they haven't been reported yet, I don't know. It's the Wild West out there, guys. The media has gotten terrible on this issue. And stories that, news organizations would have been begging us to let them break the news like 10 or 15 years ago. Now it's like crickets chirping. It's just ridiculous. The media is terrible, particularly right now. When we first started this group, maybe one article a month would be written about student loans, maybe one every 2 months, like back in 2006 or 5, I should say. Now there's probably 15 to 20 articles written about student loans every single day. It's just, and the news value of those articles is almost non-existent most of the time. So it's just an upside down, backwards world. But anyways, so we're glad to see this beacon of good reporting in the Guardian. And by the way, the Guardian did finally break our research, which shows that even before the pandemic, most borrowers, 57-point-something% of all borrowers, were not paying on their student loans before the pandemic. And quite frankly, the true number there is 64.3%. So truly, nearly 2/3 of all student loan borrowers were not making payments on their student loans before the pandemic. Now that includes, that larger 2/3 number includes people who are in school, and so they kind of don't really have to pay anyways. But it is certainly a fair and true and accurate statement to say that Nearly 2/3 of all federal student loan borrowers were not making payments on their loans before the pandemic. It is not even controversial at all to say that over half, because when you take the college kids out of that, and it's 57%. So we're glad that there's some good media going out there. Speaking of Twitter, if you happen to be watching us on Twitter or on Facebook, then if you have any questions or comments, by all means, throw them out. And if I can see them, I will very happily respond to them. 2 other quick action items. If you want to help us in this battle, particularly on Twitter, where a lot of haters are, and they say like one of 5 or 7 things. Why should my tax dollars pay for your student loans? Canceling student loans benefits the wealthy. Canceling student loans will cause inflation. Like, there's a pretty small number of things that the haters will say against us. We have formulated and, in fact, written articles in most cases that completely shoot down everything that the haters say. So if you go to that bit.ly link down there, bit.ly/SLJ links, you can see some very easy to remember links that allow you to answer all of those criticisms quickly without having to worry your pretty little head about it. You don't have to get into these stupid, stressful, infuriating, battles of will with these idiots on the internet. You can simply say, you know what, guy, bit.ly/hear it from Tucker. And boom, up will pop a video of Tucker Carlson saying pretty much exactly what we're saying, that this lending system is dangerous and threatening, and it's really should be ended. So go there. It's a very useful thing. It'll save you a time of an eternity of time and trouble and headaches and pulling your hair out and getting exasperated and, generally getting wrung out trying to answer these haters all the time. So it's very handy, a very useful thing for you to know about. bit.ly/SLJ links. So tonight, I just want to kind of maybe give you just a brief overview of the current lay of the land. The 2 best pieces of news I have for you right now is that there is a bill in Congress right now, S-2598. This bill will return bankruptcy rights to federal student loans that are more than 10 years old. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. And believe you me, no one knows that better than I do. However, getting the leverage, getting the threat of bankruptcy back is so important for us, whether you would never file for bankruptcy. Getting that threat is so important to us as student loan borrowers that we spend 80% of our time fighting for this bill. The most important policy thing I'm going to tell you guys tonight is that unless and until we get the threat, the leverage of bankruptcy back, we are not going to see any kind of meaningful, actual, non-fake student loan cancellation from President Biden. We're just not going to. It's not going to happen. When we get the threat, the leverage of bankruptcy back, very few people should even have to file, then it's a pretty direct path between that and the president being forced to broadly, meaningfully, deeply cancel student loans. And not this up to $10,000 nonsense, not this up to $50,000 nonsense, but I mean actual, meaningful, broad, for real student loan cancellation. Not means tested, none of this bullshit. By the way, there's a pretty good article out from David Sirota. I don't know if it's today or yesterday. We've been saying for years that all the loan cancellation gimmicks that we will see as long as bankruptcy remains gone will be fake. They will be bureaucratized to death because that's what the Department of Education has always done. So David Sirota wrote a good article today about means testing and how, yeah, indeed, means testing, for example, is one of the many bureaucratic tricks. And it's a feature, not a bug, by the way. This is on purpose. One of the many bureaucratic tricks that the Department of Education and its contractors have available to them to not cancel loans. There probably will also be an application process, by the way. So at the end of the day, even if Joe Biden tomorrow stands up and says, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cancel up to $50,000 in student loans. Even if he does that, as long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone, it'll be nonsense. It'll be, you get $3,000, you get nothing because you earn too much. You get nothing because you didn't dot your I and cross your T. You get nothing because we can't verify your income. You get nothing because you have blue hair or something stupid. That's the way that's going to go. You get 11 grand. Congratulations. And oh, by the way, in the years that it's going to take us to do this, we're going to make all that back in interest. Yeah, guys, that's what we can expect from Joe Biden, as long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone from these loans. Now, the best news I have for you today is that thankfully, now that the concept, at least, of canceling student loans by executive order, a concept that this group, launched into the zeitgeist beginning in August 2019, and maybe more powerfully when we started our petition, March 2020, calling on the president to cancel student loans by executive order, which Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced like 6 months after that fact. And we're glad they did, but we're very unglad that they dumbed it down with this arbitrary up to $50,000 weasel wording. Because student loan cancellation is now the top of the news all over the place, everywhere you look, people are talking about student loan cancellation by executive order. We're thrilled that's true. But because that's happened, all the debate around bankruptcy has totally gotten better. Like, there's all kinds of controversy right now about student loan cancellation. There's almost no controversy at all about the rightness, the justice of returning bankruptcy to student loans. You know, for first 15 years of our existence, we faced a maelstrom of opposition. People saying, oh, no, we shouldn't let students file for bankruptcy on their student loans. They're gonna abuse the system and this and that and the other thing. We faced a massive amount of criticism. Today, almost nobody will disagree with our premise, our most important premise, that bankruptcy has got to be returned to these loans. You know, this bill we have, S-2598, it's got 2 Republicans on it. In fact, it's got more Republicans on it than Democrats right now. And that is a very strong thing. Right now, honestly, I think if our bill was put up for a full vote in the Senate, I think it would pass like 85-15 or something like that. It would be an overwhelming passage. So while I know a lot of people out there are frustrated, including me, about the Biden administration stringing us along and, oh, are they going to cancel? Are they going to cancel 50,000? Or are they only going to cancel 10,000? We know it's going to be somewhere between there, right? That's the way this fake media narrative has been very purposely designed. It's been child-proofed. So no matter what Biden does, it's going to be nonsense anyways, whether it's 10,000 or whether it's up to 50,000. It's going to get bureaucratized to death as long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone. How many times can I say that? Bankruptcy is important, guys, whether you would ever or never file. But that's the way that whole thing is going to go. And the swamp loves that, which is why our bill, S-2598, becomes all the more important, guys. Whatever your feelings about bankruptcy are not important. What is important, supremely, nuclearly important, is that we have that right back on our side. You know, the federal government was created on, you know, one of the fundamental principles that our Constitution is grounded on is the fundamental right to bankruptcy. I kid you not. Founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson and even George Washington were being screwed under debt to British banks and merchants. You know, John Adams said there's 2 ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword. The other is by debt. Robert Morris spent time in debtor's prison. He was the guy who financed the American Revolution. So The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution, not the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. They called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. So the founding fathers are on our side, ladies and gentlemen, and that's maybe the strongest thing that I will tell you tonight. So I'm going to try and keep it rather short tonight. Some good things are happening, guys. We've still got a couple media requests out, including from some very high-profile media. Again, check out that article at The Guardian, Michael Sainato, Sainato. And maybe if somebody can post it in the comments, post a link to it in the comments below, that'd be really good. Thanks again, by the way, to Martha and Caratina Hamilton and Karen and Jessica and others who stepped up to be interviewed for that article. We're just thrilled that it's out there. Hey, I see we have a bunch of people here on the discussion tonight, at least on Facebook. Victoria and Lisa's with us. Hey, Lisa. I think I see Jessica there too. Let me just see if I can dial in the comments there. Hey, I see we have a bunch. That was me. Hey, Lisa says, greetings. Great press today. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks to The Guardian. Thanks to Michael J. Sainato. I hope you caught us on Fox News a month ago. That was probably the strongest interview we've ever done, where we went toe to toe with Dana Perino, and she hit us with many of the most common hit things that our opposition launches against us. And I think we held our own. In fact, in my humble opinion, I'd say I pretty much shut her down. And we love that, guys. We love going into the lion's den. That's where this problem is going to get solved. I can convince, we have a strong enough argument to convince even the most ultra conservative person anywhere that we are correct. You know, this is really the argument that we make is a very conservative one. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we were the featured interview at the Epoch Times, which is a very conservative publication. Republicans should be on our side, guys, and a lot of them are. Don't get me wrong. People like Josh Hawley, people like Senator John Cornyn, people like the Antonin Scalia, professor of law at George Mason University, are on our side. I don't know why conservatives tend to be a little quieter than, I guess, liberals on this issue or whatever, but I don't know why this issue has become really a partisan food fight. It makes no sense. And by the way, if you're a Republican, you're very welcome in our group. We are fiercely nonpartisan. We hate both parties, quite frankly. It's kind of a uniparty thing. So yeah, no, we whatever your political leanings are, you're very welcome in this group. I do wish, however, that conservatives, particularly conservatives on our group, would be more vocal, that they would stand up. You know, it's the southern states that are getting absolutely wrecked by these loans. If you look at the top 10 worst states, it's a solid continuous block, right? That is the South. It's the entire South, from Florida to North Carolina to Missouri down to Louisiana, and including Texas. Add Texas in there. That's like, those are the 10 worst states. Georgia is probably the worst pound for pound. Florida, $120 billion. Texas, $141 billion. All of those states, student loan debt in those states now exceeds their entire state budget. So Republicans should be on our side. And more than that, this is a big government lending monstrosity that no true conservative should like. Anyone who says they're for smaller government, there's no way they can be for this big government federal student loan monstrosity. That's just not conservative. So whatever, we can't control the media, the partisan food fight people who manufacture these fake battle lines. They're going to do what they're going to do. I will tell you, though, more than half of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. That's true. And if you go to our Medium site, you will see I think, quite reliable data that we use to make that claim from the Pew Research Foundation or something, Pew Research something. And the Gallup poll shows clearly that people with college experience, either graduates, both graduates and non-graduates, they skew a tiny bit to the Republican/independent side. So more Republicans/independents than Democrats. So anyways, this is not a partisan issue, guys. It's not. It's definitely not. But yeah, I hope you will, if you go to our Medium thing, you will see all the news that broke. You can see us breaking it like many months ago, or even years ago in some cases. Older people outnumber younger people with student loans, and they owe 300% more on average. That's another unbroken headline that we broke over a year ago, and it's true, and nobody reports it. In fact, there's a piece in the Washington Post recently that slices and dices the data, and they kind of point to the fact that, yeah, there are more older people than younger people with student loan debt, and they owe far more, but they don't explicitly say that. It's like they buried the lead. And they relied on really flimsy Fed data also, by the way. Most of the research we do relies almost always on only Department of Education data, because there's some really bad data out there, guys, let me tell you, including from the Federal Reserve. It's voluntary survey data. It's nonsense. So this group is it, guys. We are the pioneers in this fight. We've got over 1 million people across our petition and hundreds of thousands across our other platforms. But you heard it here first. Like most of the stuff that you read, we broke months or maybe even sometimes years ago. So if you want to be in the know, this group is where you need to be. We don't post all the distractive nonsense that you might see at places like Forbes magazine, which is terrible. Makes blood shoot out of my eyes. We don't repost the distractive nonsense that like Yahoo Finance does. Those rags are from the swamp. I literally don't even read Forbes anymore at all. People say that maybe I should, just for no other reason, for oppositional research purposes. But no, I don't need to, because Forbes is crap. We know they're crap. They've been crap forever. They're still crap. I used to write at Forbes magazine, guys. And at one point, the president of Sallie Mae took my editor out to lunch, and I was never allowed to write at Forbes magazine again. So let that be a little lesson to you. Forbes, you know what those people want? They want the status quo. Those snakes, I'm not even going to say their names. Everybody at Forbes magazine that writes about student loans are snakes. They're snakes. They would be out of a job if student loans were actually canceled. They don't want that. They do blatant misreporting, misleading, dis and misinformation all the time. You know what the people at Forbes want you doing? They want you sitting there waiting and watching and worrying and doing nothing and reading their garbage. That's what they want you to do. Don't give them the pleasure. It's a far more effective and efficient use of your time to be here helping us fight this battle, because we need you. And we will be buried by this bullshit if you don't help us. That's true. If all 17 years, the most powerful lesson that we've learned is that when everybody out there thinks that somebody else is going to solve this problem for them, that's when nothing happens. And it pisses me off. You can't sit there and expect anyone else to pull your weight for you. It never works like that. Never has, never will. You're not better than us. You aren't special. If you can type, you can be helping us fight. So the most powerful action item for you I have tonight is to please go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do at least a month, okay, let's say a week worth of our daily actions. You got to have a Twitter account. Most of the stuff we do is on Twitter, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. But it's fun and it helps. And it's a massively good and efficient use of your time. If you actually want to see these loans, actually not fake, not pretend, gone. We want these loans gone. We don't do secret dirty deals with bad guys like some of the other groups out there. We don't do any secret deals, no secret handshakes, no hidden agenda in this group whatsoever. We are as grassroots get. I'm a defaulted student loan borrower, by the way, and I made a decision many years ago that we would never do dirty, snaky deals with dirty, snaky people and allow our agenda to be hijacked. That will never happen. That will not ever happen on this group as long as it exists. And that is my solemn personal pledge to you. We don't care about any of the nonsense. I'm quite happy living like a freaking graduate student at the age of 52, living on literally peanuts, like literally living on peanuts. That's fine. I'm cool with that because I sleep like a baby at night and I know that we're fighting the good fight and the right fight. And you should be glad as well. You should appreciate that fact. I mean, there's pretty hard to find good, honest groups out there anymore on certainly the student loan issue, but probably other issues as well. You know, everybody's got a little secret deal out there. We don't have any secret deals, guys. What you see is what you get. And that's the best that there can possibly be. And if you're not impressed, well, then fuck you, because I don't care. We are honest. We will never tell anything but the truth on this group. And we know the path to actually getting loans gone, getting actual student loan justice, not fake, means tested, up to $50,000 nonsense. No. We're not doing that. We want these loans gone. They are a national threat. So sorry for the little digression there, but ask anybody on this group if you're new to this group who's been with us for a while, and they will concur. We are a nonpartisan group, fiercely nonpartisan, and we care only and absolutely about solving this freaking problem. And that starts by getting the threat of bankruptcy rights back. By the way, another extremely important thing, bankruptcy and student loan cancellation are not opposing concepts, as some people in the media would have us believe. They are not opposed to each other. They are simpatico. And in fact, we will not get meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to these loans. S2598 is absolutely the most important thing that anybody with student loans should be fighting for. Whether you want cancellation, whether you want to break it on interest, or whatever you want for your student loans, that all starts with us getting the threat of bankruptcy returned to the loans. So important. Don't believe the bullshit out there, guys. Pardon my French. Hey, Aaron's with us tonight. Hey, Aaron. Aaron says hello. Lisa says, I was so happy to see our research in the article today. Yeah, that's right, at The Guardian. Quite frankly, I think 60 Minutes should revisit this issue. You know, we were featured top story on 60 Minutes many years ago, like well over a decade ago, 16 years ago or something. 60 Minutes really needs to revisit this issue. You know, they are a flagship of media sort of integrity. They are a bellwether for how terrible or how good the media is. And right now, the media is just terrible. And 60 Minutes definitely needs to revisit this story, in my humble opinion. So Aaron waves. Lisa says, is there a response to the why should my tax dollars pay for your loan swamp question? Yes, there is. The taxpayers will be fine, Lisa. And, you know, probably the best bit.ly link for that right now, I'm going to make another one, is bit.ly/won't help rich. Or actually, believe it or not, the best link to answer that question is truly at our petition. The taxpayers will be fine. The taxpayers paid for these loans many years ago, and they did not pay $1.8 trillion. They paid a tiny fraction of that. And the taxpayers, actually the Department of Education and its contractors, have been profiting hugely on this student loan program since 2010, when President Obama federalized the loan program. The loans could be canceled tomorrow with not one penny required from the U.S. Treasury, not one dime or nickel added to the national debt. Can't say that about PPP loans. And on balance, it could be very well that the taxpayer is breaking about even. So it could be that these loans could be canceled tomorrow and the taxpayers would not be actually losing anything. I think they probably are going to be losing something like maybe a couple $100 billion. But what's a couple $100 billion between friends when we're talking about a $2 trillion lending system? But the taxpayers will be fine. The taxpayers have made a king's ransom on this lending scam for years and decades. And in fact, the taxpayers have even been making a profit on defaulted student loans since 2004 and before. So particularly if you compare federal student loans to PPP loans, this is not even close. Canceling student loans is essentially free for the taxpayer compared to PPP loans. And most PPP loans went to the wealthiest 20% income earners, by the way. But that's a great point, Lisa. I need to write that up into a formal bit.ly link. And in fact, I'm going to make that my goal for tonight. How's that sound? Yeah, the taxpayers will be fine. Tell people, why should my taxpayers? Tell them not to flatter themselves. The taxpayer has made a fortune on this unconstitutional lending racket over the years. The loans can be canceled without adding a penny to the national debt, without needing a dime from the Treasury. And on balance, the taxpayers may be breaking about even. So tell them to GFY, and everybody knows what that means. Hey, Victoria's with us tonight. So is Leslie. How you guys doing? Leslie and Victoria. Victoria says, can someone put the bit.ly links in the comments? I'm going to post the bit.ly link right now. It's just bit.ly/SLJ links. Boom. There it is. bit.ly/SLJ links. Lisa says, we need to amp up our calls to our senators. I completely agree. And if you go to our daily actions and look at last week's actions, go to our website. Go to our website, daily actions at our website. And you go to last week's daily actions, you will see a link. And in fact, on the main page of our website, you will see a link to call your senators. The most important thing right now, guys, is S2598. We need to get way more Republicans in the Senate championing this very important bill. So go to our website and click on the thing that says call your senators and do that. Please, it will help. Victoria says, Lisa, I wish I could be. My life is so full of medical appointments, working full time. All I can do is tweet. Hey, that's fine, Victoria. We get it. We're all accidental activists here. I'm an accidental activist. We don't have, most of us, except for me, apparently, we don't have a full-time, we can't put full-time hours into this fight, unfortunately, but that's okay. Even doing 5 minutes worth of daily actions every single day is huge. We've got a giant muscle to flex. We've got millions of people across all our platforms. When everybody, including you sitting there, you can't unhear that. We are the pioneers. We are the veterans. We are the tip of the spear. We are the spear. When everybody does even 30 seconds a day, then we will move mountains. Absolutely. A million tweets on anything in a day. I've never even seen a million of anything. I've never seen a million retweets. We could have a million retweets on stuff when everybody helps. So if you forget everything I've said tonight, remember this. Do our daily actions, studentloanjustice.org. Go to the website, do our daily actions. You got to have a Twitter account. Unfortunately, I hate Twitter. A lot of people hate Twitter, but Twitter's pretty useful. Get a Twitter account. Even create a brand new Twitter account only for the purpose of doing these daily actions if you have to. It will help. You can do usually most days, you can do a full day of daily actions in sometimes less than 30 seconds. It's like retweet this, retweet that. It's that easy. Not hard, not rocket science, but it takes a little tiny bit of your time and effort and dedication. I don't think that's too much to ask because these are your loans and this is your problem. And we are the only group that's actually fighting the actual battle that will actually lead to actual student loan cancellation, not fake student loan cancellation, not up to $50,000 bullshit, but actual student loan justice. You can't unhear that. You have no idea how important you are. Thank you for posting that article, Victoria. You can see the Guardian article under the comments here on Facebook. If you can find us on Facebook, by the way, we're at facebook.com/groups/SLJ group. If you're watching us on YouTube or Instagram, any of our other platforms, sorry you can't participate, but that's just too hard for us. If you want to join in the fun, you have to kind of join us on Facebook and or Twitter. Facebook is kind of the number one, though. So, hey, Vanessa's with us today. Vanessa Meyer, how are you, Vanessa? Vanessa says, I call my senators at least once a week, but a lot of times more often. I also call representatives in other states sometimes. So do I, Vanessa. You know, anybody can call any senator from any state. Most of the time, it's a voicemail thing. So you can leave a message for Senator Marco Rubio, for example, from Florida, where we're hitting today. $120 billion in student loan debt in the state of Florida. You, no matter where you live, can leave a message for Marco Rubio. You don't have to say, I'm not from Florida, but you don't have to say any of that stuff. Just say, you need to stand up for the people of Florida over the worst big government lending scam that is crushing your state. There's enough student loan debt in Florida to buy Disney World, the assessed value, 50 times over. Shame on Marco Rubio. He needs to be fighting very hard for S2598. And you need to tell him that. And the more do it, the more better. You know, on any given day, we literally probably don't have more than a couple thousand people helping us, guys. That's got to change. You know, these are your loans. This is your problem. You've got to take them seriously, particularly if you have Republican senators. Because as I said, we're a nonpartisan group, but historically, the Republicans have tended to oppose us. And we're no big fans of the Democrats either, by the way. They're pretty much fake. It's like a good cop, bad cop thing. We pretty much, as I said, hate both parties at this point. But the Republicans, we have to push way harder. We really do. And if you're a conservative, or if you have a conservative, if you live in a conservative state where you have one or two Republican senators, if you have a Republican governor, we've got to be going into the lion's den, guys. We've got to go on these Fox News things, these News Nation things, on these Newsmax things, on these, you know, I would love to go onto the war room and do battle with Steve Bannon. I would love that. Because we are right, and right makes might, truly. And I love educating idiotic people who don't understand this problem. And that's what we do. And going into the lion's den on Fox News or other people is most important. Victoria says, Alan, are you seeing a recent increase of people joining? Yeah, I am seeing a significant uptick in the number of people that we get joining, not only our Facebook group, but for some crazy reason, we've added nearly 45,000 signatures to our petition just over the past couple of weeks. And so I think people in the world are freaking out right now because they're thinking to themselves, wow, it's kind of looking more and more like I'm still screwed on my student loans. It's kind of looking like Biden is completely full of shit. Pardon my French. And he is. So I think people out there in the country are finally starting to wake up and saying, wow, I have to kind of fight for myself on this. And you do, because these are your loans and this is your battle. And we can't do it without you, quite frankly. If I knew any other group that was fighting the right fight, I would take this banner behind me and I would throw it in the garbage. But I can't, because that group doesn't exist, because that group is us. So you need to tell everybody you know, certainly with student loans, that if they really want to be fighting and winning this battle, they need to know about us. They need to know about our group. They need to know about our petition, change.org/cancel student loans. But I am seeing a great groundswell, a very significant groundswell uptick, Victoria. So thanks for that question. Hey, Vanessa Meyer says, Chai Garcia is also in Illinois. It's a little bit down in the weeds conversation there. I'm going to let that one go. Aaron Root says, Alan, shall we grab a template for press releases to send out? You know, I think it's best for people to think for themselves, Aaron. Reporters and even, quite frankly, congressional staffers, if they see a boilerplate thing copied and pasted too many times, they quit paying attention to it. It doesn't impress them. And, you know, every state is different. Every state, from Georgia to Washington State, every state is different. And every state has varying levels of student loan debt. Some are better, some are worse. Most are way worse. And it's good to tailor all of our stuff to each individual state. So I'm not a huge fan of doing the copy and paste boilerplate thing. Hey, one thing I would say though, guys, is if you also want to do something very quick and easy, and you can do it right now. In fact, before I finish the sentence I am speaking right now, you can go and text PSQ VFQ to 90409, I believe. Is that right? I think that's right. Text PSQ VFQ to, this is our resist bot, by the way. Text PSQ VFQ to 50409. I don't know what I just said, but like a minute ago, but what I just said is the thing. Text PSQ VFQ to 50409. That's our resist bot, and that is fighting for the most important thing, getting bankruptcy rights back. It's fighting for S2598. And I will go ahead and take the liberty of typing that also into the comments on this live stream. Boom, there it is. All right, good. Thanks for the question, Aaron. If people want to throw a state out, I can give you some very good hand-tailored information for those states. Maybe not here tonight on the live stream, obviously, but at some point, if you live in Arkansas and you want to know some interesting, unique things that you can say about Arkansas, I can tell you very unique, interesting things about Arkansas. Arkansas is terrible, by the way. Arkansas is one of the top 10 worst states for student loan debt in terms of the average debt per borrower in the state versus average wages in the state. Mississippi is the worst, so you know. Hey, Terry Dodd, how are you tonight? Terry Dodd says, good evening, fellow student loan justice warriors. If you want these loans gone or whatever you want done to them, when we get S2598 passed, that will happen. So Terry says, get off your ass. I agree. And do those daily actions and spread the word instead of sitting on your ass and waiting and watching and worrying. Terry, you're preaching to the choir, and I applaud and I echo your comments completely. Get off your ass. I didn't say that. Terry said that. So you gotta listen, because Terry knows what she's talking about. So true. Yeah, I'm gonna get that response in Bitly. Lisa, you're right. I've been lacking on that. I've been lackadaisical about that. So Lisa, I'm so sorry to hear. Lisa was diagnosed with COVID. So she'll have a little bit less time this week than anticipated. Well, get well, Lisa. Hopefully you're not even unwell in the first place. Hopefully it's a false positive, but who knows? Hang in there. So, okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. I hope that you guys are pleased with all that we are freaking getting done these days. You know, we are closer than we've ever been to actual true victory. And I've never been more confident, optimistic, looking forward to things as I am right now today. We've got a massive muscle to flex, guys. And the last thing I will say, I will only repeat, go to our website and do at least a week, if not a month worth of our daily actions. Also, do our special action, which again, you will see at the main page of the website. That special action is kind of like a grab bag. It's retweeting tweets that we have posted over the past year. And those tweets are more relevant and significant and important today than they were whenever we tweeted them, like back last summer even. Do that special action. It's easy. It's quick. It's fun. It's like a box of chocolates. I think you'll enjoy it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize if I wasn't able to get to all of your comments, but I am going to wrap it up there at that tonight. Keep contacting the media, keep contacting Republican senators, keep contacting Republican governors. As one of our members said, I love this phrase, I love this battle cry, retweet, no retreat. So retweet, no retreat. Say that 10 times fast. That is how true and how strong that is. And I hate Twitter, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. Most people, I don't like Twitter, but Twitter works, guys. Twitter actually does work. And we have gotten a number of recent media coverage on Twitter, believe it or not. Hey, I see we have, speaking of Twitter, I see we have a couple of Twitter comments here. So let me just quickly dive into these. Oh, they're both from Joanna. Matt Kearns says in Florida. Speaking of Florida, speaking of Ron DeSantis, speaking of Rick Scott, speaking of Marco Rubio, we've got to reach out and hit our Republicans in especially critical states like Florida. Marco Rubio should be on our side. Rick Scott should be on our side. Ron DeSantis should be telling the president to cancel the loans because his great state of Florida is being conquered and enslaved by the worst big government, college enriching, red state wrecking, Florida wrecking, hyperinflationary, terrible garbage junk debt that this country has ever seen. But good evening, Joanna. Joanna is one of our stalwart warriors. She is doing the work every single day. And everybody else I see here, Aaron and Lisa and everybody on our, that's Terry Dodd and others, they are the warriors. I salute all of you people out there who are doing the work every day, nearly every day, to push the battle lines in our favor. And I love you guys, and you know I do. To everybody else, just listen to what I said. These are your loans. This is your problem. We're not going to pull your weight for you. Never will that ever happen. You have to put in your own weight. You've got to pull your own weight. You should not be afraid to get your knuckles dirty. You should jump in because we need you. It's sink or swim. And these are your loans, and this is your problem. So don't be lazy. You're not better than us. Trust me. Lisa went to Harvard. You're not better. Okay. Don't even think that you're better. Think that you're above us. All right. You're not. We need your help. And that is the truest thing that I'm going to say tonight. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you are enthused and thrilled. And I hope that you're going to get off your ass like everybody else that I said here on the group tonight. And I hope that you're going to help us because it's fun. It's cathartic. It feels good to fight this battle. I kid you not. I sleep like a baby at night. And you should too. So help us and have fun doing it because we got the wind at our backs, guys. We've never been in a better position. No matter what you might read at Forbes magazine, those people are idiots. Those people are losers. Larry H. Summers is a loser. Everyone at Forbes are losers. Yahoo Finance, losers. Don't worry about the losers. We're winning. So, all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. I will see you on Wednesday. Our fearless co-leader, Ed McKinley, the guy who has way more enjoyable live streams than me, quite frankly. He doesn't just spit facts. He's more of a cerebral guy, and I think you'll probably honestly enjoy his live streams far more than mine. He will be with you tomorrow. So I'll see you on Wednesday, and in the meantime, good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody.